The visual corruption error screen then reappears with its smaller text blurred and unreadable. During this screen, the narration returns briefly with "Cruise this," and then stops again. We see the off-white loading screen again before it fades to black and the linking track plays, then more text on screen. Footage from the Party of 91, commonly labelled as Party 91st, show tape Little Red's Magic Show, location Little Red's Mega Mall, AR Little Rock location. We are then played a home video recording in which we see curtains open to show Little Red animatronic decked out in a tuxedo and mustache before there are loud gunfire sounds, flashes and screaming before the recording stops. Prior to the curtains opening, a thud can be heard in the background and the audio skips slightly. The linking track plays in the darkness and eventually gives way back to the off-white loading screen, which eventually shows us a menu, presumably the scene selection menu that we saw as an option earlier on. The fourth clip, showing the logo of Little Red's Marine Mania, is eventually chosen. The off-white loading screen comes back briefly before the next clip begins to play, Act 2 of Setting Sail, possibly another employee training program, as Setting Sail never displayed an Act 1 title card. Act 2 is titled Personal Space and Coexistence, and around the title are scattered discs and sleeves, all sporting the same man in the suit graphic we've seen before, with what appears to be the word "Welcome to the team" behind him. The segment then begins with another visual of the man in the suit, and the narrator is female again. During this part, another backhaul flashes on screen, at first a single clip of a shot of Pennywise, then the actual text. WTF, Andrew, hell no, you are ridiculous. I thought the new intern was bad, but damn, you are much worse. Anyways, I did some digging myself since you're not much help, and look what I found. It's not much, but it could be if we find out where he is. Also, I know I just told you about my email acting up, but now my editing software is too? What the hell? Kara, Visual Director. Where'd you find that? Andrew, Clipping Manager. On Rec Room? The original post was deleted, but someone took a screenshot and reposted it. Is there a problem? Kara, Visual Director. Oh, no, I was just wondering since I've never seen it before. I deleted my Rec Room account a while ago, so I totally forgot there could be information there. Anyways, I'm super invested in this story, so if you find any more stuff, send it my way. Maybe we could solve this ourselves, I don't know. Andrew, Clipping Manager. I doubt we could solve a year-old case, but we can try. Lamau, Kara, Visual Director. August, Editor Notes. The employee training tape resumes, and informs the employees that they will be sleeping in cabins on board the ship which are located at the bottom of the boat. They will be sharing with the person they are also working with, to better aid organisation and encourage teamwork and familiarity between workmates. We then get to see images of the cabins, slow pans with employee cabin in the top left corner, and the music also begins to slow down drastically. We first see Locke asleep on the top bunk of the bed, then a switch to the bathroom area with Little Red standing there. Suddenly the music drags to a halt and the scene cuts back to the scene selection menu, the right hand side stretched off screen. However, shortly before the scene changes, the cartoon Little Red goes from looking out to the distance to looking directly at the camera, something which has previously happened with the image of the older model Little Red animatronic Ivan showed off in his third message in Little Red's transfer. We briefly see the fourth option being highlighted again, then the off-white loading screen reappears. The linking track plays again and more text is displayed to us. Footage from a local Arkansas news broadcast covering the case of Party 91st. Words from former employees uncovered caused the once cold case to open again, AR Little Rock location. We then watch a news report on an incident that took place at a birthday party inside Little Red's Mega Mall. Apparently the birthday boy in question was a boy named Hayden Coons, and his party was attacked by 3 men who burst into the place wearing latex pig masks and shot the place up, killing 14 people and leaving another 11 severely injured. We see a photo of young Hayden, and behind him to his right we see something either through a door window or as a wall graphic. This image is much easier to make out when we see it in the trailer, and it clearly shows a shape wearing rounded ears, potentially bear ears. As we are shown one of these pig masks, the right eye splattered with blood, the screen glitches slightly and we see yet another secret YouTube link. Apparently staff were talking about someone inside being involved, as the doors were apparently locked and it is felt the shooters could only have gotten in with insider help. The news program fades out and the linking track plays before we see the off-white loading screen briefly, then are put back into the employee cabin tour where it left off. It starts from the beginning of the bathroom Little Red scene, but instead of the music and narration, the audio is a disconcerting piece of music. We see, in order, Little Red in the bathroom, Gally sporting a new hairstyle in a cabin, a pale yellow hair character in a laundry room, a turtle or tortoise stood in a locker room, and finally, a pig stood in front of a door marked Exit. The text of employee cabins changes to a 3-word phrase that starts with employee, but the rest of the words are harder to make out. At some point, narration starts again, but drastically slowed down.
This isn't the only sanctuary you'll have access to once entering the ship. Amongst the many employee cabins, there is a private bar, gym, and indoor swimming pool just for your leisure. Many lounges are also up to your disposal, so you will also be able to enjoy the ship life while getting.
During the turtle/tortoise part of this segment, another backhaul screen appears. Yo, it was fun hanging out with you last week. I see you've been busy here. I love your style, you're a real good artist. Andrew, clipping manager. Hey Andrew, you know we can use our emails, right? You helped fix mine, remember? Lol. Kara, visual director. Yeah, I know, but the emails are so heavily monitored. This is the only place we can talk about, you know who. Andrew, clipping manager. Oh, yeah right. Actually did some digging and found out about another incident that occurred involving Illusion Plus. About a girl named Tonya. She worked alongside Ivan. Should really look into the history of the place I work at, huh? Kara, visual director. Yeah, you'd be surprised. But actually, before we get back into the theorizing, I wanted to ask you something. Andrew, clipping manager. Ask away. Kara, visual director. So, I know I should have brought this up to you days ago, but I actually still have access to the warehouse in Arkansas where Ivan worked at. And I was wondering if you wanted to go sneak in there with me. For mystery solving purposes. Andrew, clipping manager. Oh wow, this is out of the blue. I like it. Sure, let's go this weekend. Kara, visual director. Meet me at my place. 6 AM. Andrew, clipping manager. And again at the end of the big part. I'm so proud of this. We've got so much work done. Andrew, clipping manager. Yeah, I didn't expect you to be so passionate about all this though. I wish I was more peppered. I feel like I wasn't much of a help. Lol. Kara, visual director. That's the thing about you, Kara. It's nice to just have someone who listens to me, lol. It's rare I ever get a chance to voice my opinion, let alone respond to others without being talked over, lol. You're so different and special. Andrew, clipping manager. Are you trying to ask me out or something, lol? Kara, visual director. I mean, something like that. Andrew, clipping manager. Oh, I was just kidding. Me and Ivy are, oh god, this is... Kara, visual director. Kara, what are you saying? The way you look at me. There's something there, am I wrong? Andrew, clipping manager. Yes, 100% you are, lol. I like girls. I'm sorry for unintentionally leading you on, but please don't disregard my emotions like that. I'm fully devoted to Ivy, and don't plan on that being different. Kara, visual director. You're right, I'm in the wrong. I'm the dumbass, of course you wouldn't want to go out with me. Andrew, clipping manager. I'm sorry I'm not perfect enough for you. Andrew, clipping manager. The off-white loading screen returns for a few seconds, then the employee instructional video resumes talking about where to find more information on cabin sizes and the like, seemingly ending this segment. The music trips over itself a little before fading out into the linking track, and the screen fades to darkness again, before another part of the news broadcast plays out with employee and witness testimonies on the Party 91st incident. While the first 2 audio snippets are normal, the third, tied to a photo of a confident-looking woman, is distorted. Isolating this part, speeding it up by 3 times, and flipping it around, we hear what sounds like Dear Tonya, the name being the clearly heard part.
Tonya.
We then hear the beeps of an answer phone as the screen goes dark again, then fades in on a handheld camera facing a computer screen displaying a forum post. Here it's hard to read, but the image file was posted in a Dropbox link placed in the video description of Vessel of Notions trailer. I'll go over it in detail later, but here it is on screen now in case you wish to pause the video and read it. We then hear a voice seemingly leaving a message on the answer phone talking about how he isn't responding to any form of communication. Apparently everyone has disappeared, and we hear the voice list off Ivan, JJ and Tonya, the person being left this message. The voice pleads to hear back to know if the others are okay because he's so tired. The clip ends with an answer phone voice telling the caller that they've reached someone and to leave a message, and the clip fades out back into silent white noise. The answer phone seems to have had the name of who they've reached blanked out of the audio though. Another piece of Illusion Plus promotional material then fades in with a peppy soundtrack and displaying first a signpost with Little Red's Marine Mania on it, then 3 cards with each of the 3 main characters: Little Red, Locks, and the galley with the new hairstyle. The narration from the employee training tape resumes, making it sound as if we've merely skipped a chunk between what we saw before and now. This part of the tape deals with giving a tour of the areas of the ship, splitting it into chunks to make the process easy to memorise. We see a few more slides of images, including one containing a folder with the word Atlas on it. There is a moment where things go dark, though the music continues, then some more narration, male this time, fades in, making it seem as if we join this section halfway through the narration. The narration talks about the water slides, then also says this area with the slides is home to Little Red, and we get a shot of a Little Red animatronic with pupil aside before things glitch out and there is a second of white noise and darkness before everything resumes. The narration continues, talking about a new generation of animatronic, as we are shown a slightly fuzzy photo of 3 animatronics stood slightly bowed over, inactive in dim lighting, with a collide sign to their left. The voice goes on to describe the Little Red animatronic stand-up comedy as impeccable. It says that he is now capable of posing for photos and playing songs requested of him via the tablets embedded into the walls near the stage. Other things on the same deck are then listed: Little Red's Frozen Custard, Mania Lane's Bowling Alley, and the Pig Trail Climbing Centre. The video is then interrupted by something that appears to be a promotional bit for another attraction, Hansel and Gretel's splash pad with a dummy wearing waterproof gear. We then see a static ad screen for Little Red's Marine Mania with a life jacket, can of drink and a food tray on the right, and the text of "Get the bypass now" under the logo on the left. During this ad screen we get another back hall screen. Are you backing out on me, Kara? Andrew, clipping manager. No, just after the trip I need a break from everything, I'm already paranoid. Kara, visual director. Link expired, link expired, link expired, link expired. Found something. Kara, visual director. Holy shit, Kara, 1 second. Andrew, clipping manager. So, you know the old cartoon Ivy's working on? Well, they're missing a few scenes and I think I found one of them a few days ago, here. Andrew, clipping manager. Okay, yeah, this is good. Things are going well. We just need to go to the warehouse, try to find anything from the preservation project, and we'll be done with this for a little. Lol. Kara, visual director. September, editor notes. We return to the ad for a bit, then suddenly the colours go blue, the music starts and we're thrown into a new clip. This one is a continuation of the tour, and the same narrator tells us about the deck being special for its theme and for being the location of the ship's main food buffets and restaurants. However, no backing music is playing, leaving only crackly white noise under the narration. We're then told that the kiddie area is where the fearful Locks the Golden Bear is located, but the narration glitches prior to saying Locks' name, potentially hiding another name, or perhaps that Locks is short for a much longer name. The narrator then prepares to tell us of other things located on this floor, but the video stops and the screen goes dark again. During this, a back hall frame flashes up. I thought you guys would be home by now. Ivy, resource manager. The rest of this blue screen is covered with a string of binary that I'll go into later during the theories part. The tour video resumes with a momentary glance at a visual that resembles window blinds as still lacking any background music, as we're told what other things can be found here. Locks and Jack's Jungle Gym, Fairy Tale Reading Showroom, which displays a poster for the Woodland Pals, and Forest Maze Wonders. The image chosen for the Forest Maze remains on screen for a while before the video cuts to another tour, being given by another narrator. We're shown some of the shopping areas on board, focusing on a jewellery cabinet, and we're told that Galley is placed in the Aqua Showroom where announcements are made as the camera focuses on a display showing a cartoonish radio. As the camera turns back around to the shopping area, we catch a brief glimpse of a man in a suit, who looks startlingly like the man in a suit we keep seeing in graphic form. The visuals and audio glitch out and slow down before the video continues on, listing what else can be found on this floor. T&H Arcade, the poster for it sporting the hare and turtle/tortoise mascots we saw earlier, Gingerbread Dash Cars, the poster containing a gingerbread man, and Golden Egg Tag Arena, the poster having Galley upon it. The screen goes dark, and then we see a handheld video shot as someone with a flashlight enters into a cabin and shines their light around. Then the footage glitches and it almost looks as if someone jumped the person recording the footage. Over this we hear the male narrator advising new crew members to have their medical details ready when they board, but it glitches out as the footage skips. The linking track plays as more text appears on the screen. The final film. Multiple snippets of a man running throughout what was later discovered to be one of the many variations of Locks and Jack's Jungle Gym found on Ivan Carpenter's camera. Final scene revealing him enclosing himself within a blue locker. Footage not available and is in possession of Ivan's family. In its place though, an image of his final resting place. AR Illusion Plus Warehouse. We then see someone recording a handheld video as they move through darkened play equipment, various voice recordings that sound as if they've been left on an answer phone playing over the top. On-screen text tells us that because the dates and times of the calls match up with the last days Ivan was seen, they think this is the murderer calling Ivan before chasing him through the warehouse. The voice, who are referred to as the man on the phone, tells Ivan that some things should be kept secret, questions Ivan's interest in the cold case, tells the man that they're only looking out for the company's reputation in this matter, and wants to protect from Ivan's conspiracy theories. Then a recording plays of the man ranting that he pushes everyone to be better and this is Ivan's way of thanking him. The screen goes dark and more text appears on screen. We're praying for Ivan's family and hope these two events will find closure. The screen then fades in on a static picture of a blue locker, Little Red's face printed onto it. The employee tour suddenly cuts back in, ending the introduction and asking the employee to select the option they were hired for to get further information on it. Only the narration gets stuck and begins skipping before they get too far into saying that. We see a menu with 3 options on it, one option bearing the Woodland Pals logo, one I'm not sure about, and the third bearing an image that was in the trailer but will become more important later as we go over the hidden and secret stuff. We return to the off-white loading screen, and then to the original DVD menu before the video's credits begin playing and we learn the names of various characters who we've seen but not had named, and in some cases we've not heard, at least not in this video. Only after the credits have passed, the video continues dark until we once again hear JJ's voice. He says that before they get into the more serious topic of the night, he wants to thank the sponsor of the show, Little Red's Marine Mania. He then proceeds to read off an ad blurb for them, before going into his serious topic of a local millionaire planning to set up a new warehouse for his corporation, eating into space planned for new residential. An anonymous insider has apparently passed on details of lobbying money being poured into an upcoming local election by the same corporation. We're told that we'll be kept up to date with further development, and then JJ signs off confirming that this is indeed JJ we're listening to, and the video ends with a black screen, white noise, and links to both the soundtrack of Transfer 2 and another one of the hidden videos.